Welcome to Clockworks Framework Dev Diary number 8. Today I want to go over some of the details regarding vehicle crafts in the Clockworks Framework world. As we go through this, I do want to be very clear that I have given name to many things, but I have not taken the time to fill out details on those specifics. I'll try to explain some of my thought process behind it, but just know that at this point in time, some of it is a little vague. So I can't really fully explain exactly what it is. Just know that it eventually will be built out. It may just be a superfluous thought at the moment. Um, so getting into it real quick, we have different types of vehicles and a like rough build out of chassis that will appear. There's groundcraft with like trucks, cars, and motorcycles in it. We have watercraft. You get into more of your seafaring ships all the way up to subfloats, giant, big old cities. Aircraft, essentially the same thing, same build out. Obviously, way different chassis when you get into it because they had to fly, but the names were roughly the same per idea. Mechs, you have war, labor, and sport types of mechs, and then you go into automaton, which also has, much like mechs, different types of um, subcategories. Each of these types of vehicles can have soulbound variants. So groundcraft, watercraft, aircraft, mechs, and automatons can also have soulbound variants. The bigger the vehicle is, the more likely you may have, two or maybe even three souls or more attached to it. Metatychus being a very large example of that. Each of its engines, from its core main engines all the way out to its auxiliary engines, each has a soul imbued into it. However, when you get into mechs and automatons, there is an idea of taboo variants, wherein a soul of a, I don't want to say sentient creature because there are like dragon souls that are used, and those are sentient creatures. But one of the clans, like if someone kills another clan member and imbues their soul into a mech automaton, it can create a taboo variant, which kind of amalgamates into a sort of monstrosity. Um, that whole side of soul imbuing I haven't built out yet. I will go into deeper detail at a later time. But I have this idea of certain things when imbued, like a clan soul, kind of mutates the object it was imbued into and creates a sort of like just devastating monstrosity from it. When you get into the customizations of these vehicles, they all have different parts that you can change about them when you're building them or buying them. So you have the chassis itself, what material it's made out of, the engines, fuel type. Uh, Aircraft have landing apparatuses. Watercraft has sails. Groundcraft, your more basic ones. Mechs, you can modify each of their arms. Automata, you can change their cores. Um, and then you have like improvement slots as well. You see these like top slots, port slots, starboard slots, stern slots, bow slots. Um, these, and then for groundcraft, it's just kind of more generic. These are for improvements. When I show off one of the chassis themselves, it'll make a lot more sense. But there are things you can add to them that are kind of generic. Like things that you can improve on the vehicle with. Then there's materials that you can build things out of. Not every vehicle or chassis at base has access to every single one of these. If you wanted to make something out of something like a material or an engine that isn't on there, you can. Uh, these chassis that I'm going to show off are baseline chassis. They are not restrictive, but if it's not listed, you would have to work with your GM to modify it in the way that you want. Another thing over here is cores. So there are a couple different types of cores for automata, but their core level is a little bit unstable. 1 through 5 is completely stable. Then 6 and 7 are kind of unstable. 8's a little bit more unstable. 9 is pretty unstable, and 10 is extremely unstable. So if you ever get into the realm of crafting automata, just know that the higher level the core is, the more likely it is to be unstable. And these things are concepts, again, that I've built out, but they are not 100% like described yet. I have not taken the time to give each of these a descriptor or background information in all but idea. So we're going to go into the groundcraft for now. Groundcraft is the one that I have the most built out chassis for. I have one aircraft I'll show off later, but I don't really have anything outside of concept documents for mech automata and watercraft. Just haven't taken the time to build those, but hopefully I'll get to a point where I can show some of those off in a more clean way. So we'll take a look right now. I showed off the motorcycle in an earlier dev diary. I'm going to take the time to show off the car here, and I'll show off a few more vehicles as well in the ground chassis. But here you have um, its stats on the left-hand side. We have speed, which is marked by S, maneuverability, which is marked by M. We have durability, which is marked by DU, defense, which is marked by DE, fuel, which is marked by F, cargo capacity, which is marked by CC, and IS is improvement slots. So, when you are making a vehicle, crafting it, or if you're going to a place for someone to craft it for you, you would choose certain things. Again, these are not comprehensive, but these are what each vehicle can come with at standard. If you want to add other things, you are allowed to just work with your GM to make them, but this is what this chassis can be made with in a generic sense. So you can choose from copper, iron, steel, or onyx as the main building material. Each one of these affects speed, maneuverability, durability, and then they have a resource cost. Vehicles are not cheap. There are cheaper vehicles, but cars and are still, you can see, fairly expensive. And things can get even more expensive as you go deeper into the chassis. So we're looking at copper. This one gives you +1 speed if you use it, but it does give you -1 durability. And each one of those has those types of stats. So Onyx, -1 speed, -2 maneuverability, +3 durability. Engines, you have steam engines, clock engines, convergence engines, reaction engines for this particular vehicle. Steam obviously can only take water as a fuel type, so you do get access to a cheaper fuel type when using it. Clock conversion reaction. I'm sure that those words in and upon themselves give you some kind of description in your head. I will take the time at some point to fully describe them later. But certain fuels can only go into certain types of engines, like steam and water. On top of that, I will take the time to actually build out what each engine type can do, because there will be some hidden mechanics behind engine types as well, or load capacity. So like a vehicle of a certain weight may not be able to run efficiently off a steam engine without other types of assistance. Um, so there will be a time when that gets built out even more, but as of right now, they're just vague ideas tied to the words and the type of engine that it is relative to real life. Um, Not 100%, but the idea is present. Fuel types: you have water, sludge, essence, spark dust, liquid soul, and dragon's blood. Sludge is like the easiest one to explain since it's a not like oil, but it is a synthetic, uh, non-intended fuel source that can be used to fuel vehicles. It's not great. It lowers your speed if you use it, and you get half the fuel capacity when you use it. So it's best to not use it at all. However, it is available during a certain time that you need to get your vehicle running, but you don't have some of the other fuel types on you. You can craft this pretty easily and get it to move. Essence, Spark Dust, Liquid Soul, and Dragon's Blood. I'll go into full descriptors on those at a later time. But their Essence is the standard fuel type, aside from water, that can be used in most engines. Dragon's Blood being what it says it is. Very rare but extremely powerful, but you are burning Dragon's Blood, so just know that you are paying a hefty sum to continue running a vehicle on such a pristine magic fuel source. Then we get down to the main body improvements, where you can have weapon attachments, extra armor, searchlights, extra tanks stripped down if you wanted to remove some of the armor, extra storage, and hidden storage. So what each of these is, and you see all the same markers to the right of them. And then at the very end, before the resources, you'll see improvement slots. So these are what goes into that IS category. So you have 4 improvement slots, and you can fill them with these improvements. The weapon attachment, you can have 2 of them. Each one costs 1 improvement slot, and that lets you put a weapon directly onto the vehicle. Weapon attachments will be built out in another list. It's not something I fully built out yet, but it will be a generic list that you can go into and select from. They will also have their own resources attached to them depending on the cost or rarity, but the base cost is automatically 1 just to get the weapon attachment slot put on the vehicle, plus whatever that weapon attachment costs. Extra armor, you can have 2 extra armor on a car chassis. Each one is 2 improvement slots. If you do have those 2, that use all 4 of your improvement slots, but while it reduces your speed and your maneuverability, it does increase your durability and defense per extra armor you have. Searchlights, um, they don't really give you any benefit on your stats, but it is a light that you can use at night to spot people if you need it. Extra tank gives you more fuel capacity. Stripped down, like I said, it reduces some of your durability and defense stats, the reverse of extra armor. It increases your speed and maneuverability, making you a bit lighter. But again, it does cost 2 improvement slots. And if you ever get into a fight in your vehicle, you just be wary that it could, you are easier to be damaged. Extra storage gives you more cargo capacity. And then hidden storage also, it gives you a type of cargo capacity. However, it is a hidden compartment. So we'll close down car, and we'll go look at one of our bigger vehicles. Look at a train. So a train has to be on tracks. It is restricted by that. But you'll see that it's a little bit different in its stat section. So you have the same thing: speed, maneuverability, durability, defense, fuel, cargo capacity, and then improvement slots is where it's changed. This one shows 3/3/3/3/12/1. And we'll go into the improvement slots down here. So top improvements, you have 3 of those. There are weapon attachments and searchlights. You can choose to either put 3 weapon attachments on there. You can have 3 searchlights on there, or a mix. Bow attachments. On the bow, you have weapon attachments, heavy weapon battery, extra armor, searchlights, and a plow. Starboard, you have the weapon attachments, heavy weapon batteries, extra armor, searchlights, or you can strip it down to reduce that durability but increase that speed if you wanted to. Then you have port improvements, which is weapon attachment, heavy weapon battery, extra armor, searchlights, and stripped down. And then stern, this is one with 12. So with stern attachments, things get a little interesting. So you got your basic ones like weapon attachment, the heavy weapon battery, extra armor, searchlights. You can strip it down, or you can put on a passenger car or a cargo car. If you put on a cargo car or a passenger car. Each additional car gains access to improvement slots. Passenger cars have 1 top, 2 starboard, and 2 port. Cargo cars have 3 top, 3 starboard, and 3 port. So you can improve them further, and those loop back up here to the bow, starboard, and port. So if you wanted to have a car or a train with 12 cargo cars, you could. They cost a lot of money. Each one's an extra 6 resources, and then you'd have to build out each of those cargo cars if you so wanted. Engine improvements, you can overcharge or fuel efficiency. These change stats drastically, but are very expensive since they are augments to the engine apparatus. Fuel efficiency is pretty cool because it gives you plus 200 extra fuel capacity, and it's always active. So engine improvements, some of them can be turned on or off because they can cause stress to the vehicle itself. Another concept that exists only in idea form and has not been built out, but engine improvements can cause stress to the vehicle but give you a major boost in exchange. So that is one of our larger ones. We'll close train for a second and we will go look at skid pad, another large chassis. This is like a land train, and it sounds silly to say, I get that, but just think of it as a trackless train. It can go over any terrain because it just works off of a large set of um, oh, my brain just stopped. I don't know why I can't think of the word, treads, like tank treads. I got there. My apologies. My brain just shut off. So once again, this is much like the train. You got your base stats. It has no defense at base, but it is a little bit special in the fact that it is a very large platform that is just crawling across on these treads. Its improvement slots are 10 top improvements, 8 bow improvements, 8 starboard improvements, 8 port improvements, 8 stern improvements, 1 tread improvement, and 1 engine improvement. And of course, just like everything else, it has its materials, it has its engine, it has its fuel type. Top improvements include weapon attachments, the heavy weapon batteries. Again, both of those will be in lists that are generic. And if you would like to create your own weapon based off that list, you are more than welcome to. I just haven't made that list yet, but I always push for GMs and players to use what's available to create your own creations. Then you can have barricades on the top. So, like I said, imagine a very large, flat area that's being moved on treads that you can put cargo on top of. You can also put these barricades on there, so you can have like defensible positions on the barricade itself. Bow improvements, weapon attachments, heavy weapon batteries, barricades, extra armor, searchlights, plow. Starboard, you got the weapon attachments and battery, but more barricades, extra armor, searchlights. You could also reduce its armor with strip down. You can only strip it down twice, but you can extra armor it 6 times. Port improvements. Got those weapon batteries, you got the barricades, extra armor, searchlights, stripping it down, and then stern, it's all the same. Except you can take extra tank on the stern, giving you more fuel if you wanted to go a very long distance. Then you got treads, which omnidirectional treads, ice treads, crawler treads, just different types of treads on the vehicle itself. They do change some stats, and they also, as you see down here below, ice treads do not lose maneuverability on ice, and crawler treads maintain full speed while going up hills. So they do have some bonuses there. Engine improvements, you have that overcharge, you have that fuel efficiency, and then this one also has afterburner. The afterburner and the overcharge are not active at all times, but when you do activate them, they can cause stress to the system of the vehicle, the engines. Afterburner is an interesting one. It increases the speed by +6 and -4 maneuverability, kind of like double the overcharge. But it does start reducing your fuel at an increased tick. So you get double the overcharge bonuses, but on top of causing stress to the vehicle, Afterburner also reduces your fuel capacity by quite a lot. And I can show off a few others. I'm gonna open a few just to let, like, if people want to pause and look at them, I'll leave them up for a couple seconds. And then I'll go over to the aircraft to show off that one as a final one. So first of all, open up carriage. Carriage is a pretty basic one. It's just this one page. If you'd like to pause and take a look, do so now. Close that out. Open up moped. Pretty cheap vehicle. Another fairly basic one. I'll leave that up for a couple seconds if someone wants to look at it. Close it now. Motorcycle I showed off before. It's also a fairly basic one, a little bit more complex than moped. I'll leave that up for a couple seconds if you want to pause and take a look. I'll close it now. And then we have truck down here. Truck can have both an attached and detached cab. You can actually pay for a detached cab if you want. But pretty basic. Ground vehicle. And lastly, van. I'll leave this one up for a couple seconds if you want to take a look. And I will close it now. All right. So that's all the ground craft that I have right now. I'm also going to, like I said, show off the one aircraft that I have. So this is a civilian transport airship. Much like the skid pad and train, it's built out with those segmented improvement slots. These are, it's an aircraft, so extremely expensive just for the chassis itself without anything on it. Relatively fast, good fuel, decent cargo capacity. Materials over here on the right, engine and fuel type down below like normal. Then we have your improvement slots. This one has, this, just like almost every vehicle, weapon attachments if you want them in searchlights. Then you get into the bow, where you get, just like everything else, a lot of those same basic loadout pieces. The weapon attachments, the extra armor, pulling off armor if you want with stripped down. But this one does have the bottom improvements because it's a vehicle. It has, it flies over top, over the land. You actually can improve the bottom of the vehicle itself. Nothing special here. It's still roughly the same stuff. You can just, improve the bottom of the aircraft. And then you have engine, which has overcharge, the afterburner, and soul compensator and backup engine. Soul compensator requires the compensation engine type to use, and backup engine is literally if something happens to your main engine, you can back up onto the backup engine. So I really wanted to show off this. This may look complex, but this really is still the early parts of the chassis system. They still have to go more in detail on to how you can craft them, how those checks look. I have to go more in detail on each individual aspect, like what is a conversion engine in this world? What is a clockwork engine in this world? What is a reaction engine in this world? What is a compensation engine in this world? And while I have those ideas roughly written down, they're not built out yet. So I have to take the time to really build those out, weapon lists for weapon attachments and, heavy weapon batteries. This is all just for functional slots. Like, if you wanted to have a mini bar in your civilian transport ship, you could take some of your cargo space and put a bar in there. Like, the interior design I'm not that worried about. But but then I have to figure out how souls apply to them, how ship to ship or car to car combat works. I need to really dig into how engine improvements can stress the engine or cause damage to it, in line with how you can do damage to vehicles when you are not on them. So there's quite a lot more to go into, but this is the baseline of the idea that I have for at least the crafting side. And while very much still in an early state, I hope that it interests anyone who watches this. Because I never liked being in an RPG where it's like you buy a vehicle. Like I played a lot of Shadowrun at a point in my gaming career, and the way they did vehicles just felt it wasn't as in depth as I wanted it to be. And whenever I tried to make it more in depth, it didn't really mesh well with the system. Now, granted, I played Shadowrun in earlier editions, so that may have been fixed in later editions. Um, I have not kept up with it in the past 8 years. But, there are other games that are like that where, like, you get a vehicle and that's as much of a handshake you get onto what that vehicle is or what it does. So I wanted to make something that was a lot more customizable without being. I mean, yes, I know this is pretty complex, but without being too complex, because you can understand that this is like a Lego block creation um, at its core. Um, Getting the checks right to work on top of that is something I'll have to spend some time thinking about. But I really wanted that Lego block thought on crafting, and this is a system that I hope to be able to use for cooking, alchemical creations, and such, with tiered benefits, tiers 1 to 9, also being implemented. Um, so this is the first look. It will get updated a lot more, and I hope you'll join me on the journey on figuring out what that looks like and figuring out if it even works. Thanks again if you decided to watch this video. This is the last overview of this type. Going forward, I will be spending a lot of time branching into some of the more nitty gritty and potentially working live on some of these videos to go talk through concepts that I'm trying to work on. If you stayed to the end, thank you so much. If you have any comments or things you want to tell me, ideas you have, feel free to share them. I'd love to hear them. Thanks again. Until next time.